Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Rambling of an Endless. As you guys can tell, I did some basic improvements of the studio. I hope that you guys like it. If you do, please put it down in the comment section. But I think in today's episode, we're going to talk a little bit about the Great Resignation. I think this has been happening within the United States, and what this is, basically, if any of you guys are wondering, is that when the US economy opened, post the pandemic, and with a lot of people getting their second dose already, and I think with the majority of the population being vaccinated, what happened was the US economy started opening certain sectors, right? And something interesting happened whereby certain sectors like the retail sector and also like food and beverage sectors, a lot of their workers just didn't want to come back for work. In fact, they resigned, right? And some people were estimating as many as 4.4 million Americans just did not want to continue working, or they just resigned, right? And that made about 3% of the total population. So right now, the big question right now is this happening in Malaysia, right? The next question is, why are a lot of people resigning? And the final question is what we can do. So basically in Malaysia, if you ask me, I think the Great Resignation also happened over here, whereby a lot of people weren't given the luxury of resigning. In fact, a lot of people were maybe let go, or maybe some of them, their pay was cut. And as I mentioned in previous episode, during the pandemic, what happened was when people couldn't go out, people couldn't interact with business, and when businesses couldn't interact with people, or they could not make any sales, this actually impacted their P&L, and when their P&L were affected, they had to cut costs. And one of the ways of cutting costs is by letting go some of their employees, right? And that has been happening over in Malaysia. I think aside from that, right now also, with a lot of companies asking employees to come back to the office to work, right? I noticed that some employees are not really comfortable going back to the office. I think reason being, sometimes one of their colleagues actually got contracted with COVID, right? It makes it very difficult, or it makes it very awkward to actually work in such a small little space with 20 other people in one room. And the worst part is, windows are all closed and it's all air conditioned, right? So if someone has, COVID, right? If he coughs, or if he sneezes, right? The air will circulate within the office. So a lot of people right now, they're also looking at working conditions. The third observation, which I also see, is that right now, after being given the freedom of working from home, right? And a lot of people being effective working from home, when you ask a lot of staff to actually go back to the office, there are things like driving back and forth the office from our house, which will take a lot of time, and that will increase our stress. On top of that, there are going to be more and more meetings, since we are all in a very close proximity, and many people actually prefer the freedom of working from home. So that's one of the reasons why a lot of Malaysians, if they weren't let go, some of them are actually not keen towards going back to the office. And as I mentioned, the flexibility and also the working conditions are part of the reasons. And the third reason, structurally also, I noticed that over in Malaysia, there are a lot of unemployed graduates. So this unemployment is not a luxury where we can resign, rather it's structural. And when it's structural, it's actually even more scary. And when it happens structurally, people just don't have jobs. The jobs don't exist. So yeah, it's actually quite a difficult situation for many of us Malaysians. Having said that, I believe it's not always doom and gloom. I believe that right now we live in an amazing era whereby we are connected by the internet. Technology is getting so much cheaper. I think if you want to be an entrepreneur, it has never been easier. In fact, you can actually start your business with a very low cost, right? And I believe if we leverage on our passions, and when we leverage on technology, if we marry these two, right? And if there is a high enough demand, we can definitely create a business. So as an example of this is, say we like to bake kuih Melayu. I've seen many people on YouTube and also on TikTok, which actually shows people how to cook different recipes. So much so they became a celebrity, and they're endorsing many different brands. So my question for all of us right now is this: we can always focus on the bad, or we can always focus on the good. I would rather for all of us to focus on the good. Right now, this is the age of entrepreneurship where we have internet, we have social media, everyone is consuming social media. What one passion do you have? And with that one passion, can you try to make it into a business? So that's my question to you. What one passion do you have? And whether that one passion can be converted into a business. And if you have no idea, guess what guys? There's always Google. Google is always there to help any of us. I hope you found this particular message inspirational, and I hope that we're not too bogged down looking at the political instability or also the unemployment rates amongst many Malaysians. Rather, we can focus on what we can do, what we're passionate about, how to turn it into a business, and if we don't know how, we just Google and just take the steps every day. Trust me, if we don't give up, we are consistent enough, we can turn any of our passion into a business. I hope everyone the best of luck, and I hope to see you guys in the next episode. See ya.